Good morning, Rabbi Sai. Little bit of a late start, so I'm going to skip around over here. Unfortunately, we're not going to have so many emails today. Thank you, my friend Aryeh. Doesn't go anywhere without a Gemara. We're traveling together for business in Baruch Hashem. We have a full day running from meeting to meeting, but there's no way he'll start his day without your shir. I've attached a picture for you to see the amazing impact you're making. Yosef Wurzberger, here he is, learning on a plane. The same exact day that I got this picture, I also got this one from a Belzer Chassid who comes to the night shir. Aaron Kormlith for Ramah Bet Bet. I want to thank you, says in Hebrew, on the shir that you invest so much in, for the whole staff. Before I was in the shir, it was very hard for me on flights. But on the last flight, I fulfilled what you said. And I started doing chazar and shiurim, and I didn't even feel the time fly by. I have a picture here of how I'm learning, and the second picture is this avreich that was sitting next to me. He wanted to know what I'm watching, and I showed him about your shir, and Be'ez Hashem, he'll be doing the shir every day. Talmidcha hanemon Aaron Kornbli, Ramah Bet Bet, Bava Basra Daf Pei Ches. Here they are, Rabbi Isai, on the flight. Yechiel Shalom says that the story I said about Rabbi Yankel Miller with the Rebbe, and he said, where did they have cancer? Here in Monsey is a Maisa Shekamat Hoya. B'Yomin Schwartz says that yesterday I said a Maisa.
Story, it's a real story. The story has also Hemshech, much more.
It's a real story. Okay, listen, even if it's a fake story, I don't think it's a bizarre to Rabbi Yankel Miller. I think it was okay. What's the Hemshech? No.
The Rebbe asked him where.
Where's the Machla?
No, where in Monsey?
Where?
Where was she buried?
Yeah.
She said on the ground.
It's okay, I got it. But he said this is not Litzonis. He said he's not being funny. Great. Anyways, Binyamin Schwartz says that just yesterday I mentioned a Maisa where a guy was buried and they saw that the grave was moving, so they took him out and they asked him, how do you know you're... So he says here, in the paper in New York, just yesterday, it says like this: a 25-year-old man was declared dead and about to be cremated in India this week, was found to be still alive. And he was 25 years old. I like this part. I mean, I don't like it. It's sad. Once it was clear Kumar was alive, and at his cremation on Thursday afternoon, his family reportedly took him back to the hospital where he died early Friday morning. But 3 doctors involved in declaring Kumar dead at the Bagwan Das Kitan District Hospital have since been suspended, the newspaper reported.
They used to cut the carotids of dead people, make sure they were dead, and they used to bury them with a bell in the coffin. So in case they wake up, they can ring it.
Givaldik. Okay, we're just going to skip. And here, Rabbi say, here's a guy doing the daf in the pool. And here we go. The Mazel responsible for the safe and speedy return of all the hostages. Parnassa Zechrya ben Moshe, Chaya bas Yosef, Parnassa Kidnovations LLC in honor of my uncle Revkana Pressman and Fishel should be zechus for Akiva Simcha Ben Fayga, who's going to be at the Shabbaton Beis Hashem. Rivka Yehudit Chaya, who's going to be at the Shabbaton. Thank you to Rebbitzen Stefansky, who's going to be at the Shabbaton for selflessly giving up her husband to the klal. Should be zechus for a year filled with Mazel, Bracha, hatzlacha, Parnassa B'revach and Refuah. Parnassa Yosef and Chaya, Sara for Parnassa. Yeah, I have it over there. Parnassa Tzvi Spero, Refuah Shleimah for Itamar Ben Chai Blima. Parnassa Refuah Tanevesh and go for Breina Bina Bad Miriam Bela or Bracha Bad Breina Bina Netanel Kalev Ben or Bracha. Parnassa Refuah Shleimah for Yosef Chaim Shmuel Ben Altan Chama from his grateful family. Parnassa Refuah in honor of Rebelli from Naftali Kraus at Blackberry Recruiting. Parnassa Yomi Sara bas Yehuda Leba Levi Sadowitz, whose Yosef is today. She grew up near Panovich, Lithuania, and was a paragon of Shmiras Haloshin, and always had a kind word for everyone. Who's saying this? By her great grandson Peretz Chaim Levin. Natan Sultan, Refuah Shleimah Mordechai ben Sara, who broke his jaw. You have a fast and easy recovery. Wow, Mordechai, fast recovery, tzaddik. Shmuel Eckstein, Refuah Shleimah. Esther, this just reminded me of a terrible story. I don't know if I should say it. It's so terrible. I played basketball with a guy in Chicago. Maybe you guys, Noah. Oh, first of all, Shalom Aleichem to Noah Rosen. Shalom Aleichem from Chicago. There's a guy who was a bigger fellow. He played ball. I played with him every week. And he had jaw surgery. And when he woke up from surgery, he complained about something. He was very uncomfortable. He wasn't breathing. Oh, he didn't get enough oxygen. He was going like this. So they thought he was going crazy. So they held him down, and he was nifter. Just remind me this. We know, you remember that story? It's a terrible story. He had a kid and everything. Shmuel Eckstein, Refuah Shleimah is donating a kidney today from a proud husband. Wow. Oh, this is what we're talking about. Listen to this. This is a kiss from Hashem. I didn't see this. Shmuel Eckstein, Refuah Shleimah is donating a kidney today from her proud husband. So I have a question for you, proud husband, Shmuel Eckstein. This is a question I wanted to start off the share with. It's unbelievable. Let me just say, for zechus, for rebelling, the whole MDY staff to continue to make Torah and joy of so many. So wow, Mamsha kiss from Hashem. It's the last sponsor, and this is how I wanted to start the share. If a person donates a kidney, are they giving it on loan, or they just give it forever? And the question is as follows. It's a very important question. A person donates a kidney, and the recipient of the kidney, Rahman al-Islan, is in a car accident and dies a year later. The donator wants the kidney back. The donor wants the kidney back. Can you do a nituche mesim, open up the body, take the kidney? Let's say there's such a thing.
Right,
Believe it or not, I thought when I saw it, it's like, oh, what do you mean? You gave it. You know, it's done. It's a done deal. No, the Achronim seem to say that it's not a done deal. You gave it so that the person can use it. Not to sell it, not to this. And if they're not using it anymore, you take it back. And that you're allowed to, it's not a bezayda mace to open up the body and take it. It's not gneva, the opposite. That's what they're saying. Unbelievable. But here's another question. Isn't that a kiss from Hashem? Like the last thing, kidney today. When was the last time we had somebody donating a kidney? We had, but like if somebody sponsoring.
You watched the show last night.
That's interesting. Yeah, I did speak about it last night. You're right. I don't think so. He told his wife, quick, donate the kidney. I want to be on a very interesting shiloh. You live in South Africa, or you've been talking about South Africa. I guess one of the ways to get your money out of there, I mean, this is, everybody thinks about this idea. You take all your belongings, you buy a nice size diamond, a $50,000 diamond, and you swallow it. But you don't want to swallow it. You have your friend, you convince your friend to do it. So you give your friend a $50,000 diamond, swallows it, and right before he makes it to the airport, he dies. Maybe from the diamond, I don't know. He dies. Question is, can you open up the body to retract? You have $50,000 in there. It's not even his. It's your $50,000. It's Shav Saveda. But on the other hand,
They do ask the shiloh.
You can't. Listen, we're not talking about Metzias here. We're talking about, theoretically speaking, can you open up a body for monetary gain? It's a question that, could happen. And these are some of the things we're going to learn today. Some very interesting sugyas. So we're holding on the last line of Kufnum Gimel Amud Beis. V'chachamim moimrim hamoitzi mechaveiroi olav haraya. Let me see if I can get here. Gershon, hold on a second. I need to get to this one. Okay, this one. Here we go. Could you do 14, please? I don't have touch here. Okay. This is the Mishnah Regel Achas. Very, very simple. We're only going to focus on a little bit, not to get confused. Somebody writes a shtar to his friend. He says, I want to give you my apartment in Ramah Bet Shemesh. It doesn't mention a word about him being sick, about him dying. Zero. I want to give my friend the apartment in Ramah Bet Shemesh. According to Rabbanon, Hamoitzi mechaveiroi olav haraya. Who has to bring a raya? The receiver. Because the apartment was always in the giver's name. He's still actually living in the apartment. He's the muhsik right now. The one receiving has to prove that he, the giver, was not sick. The giver is saying, listen, I only gave it to you because I was sick. I thought I'm dying. But in fact, I didn't die. I want my apartment. I need a place to live. Why would I give a random person an apartment? I thought I was dying. So the receiver says, what are you talking about? You looked healthy. You're making up a story now. You gave me an apartment. You told me you like me. You gave me an apartment. No connection. It doesn't even say in the shtar anything about a shchimera. So you had a machlokes in the Mishnah who has to bring the raya. The receiver or the giver? So we're not going to go into Reb Meir, who says that the giver has to bring a raya. According to him, what kind of raya? Eidim. Yesterday, Noam Fix asked the middle shir, and this is basically a little bit what we're touching here. He says, wait a minute. The guy has a shtar. What's wrong with the shtar? Shtar says, Reuven gave an apartment to Shimon. And the story. You can't make up stories afterwards. Oh, I was sick. I was not 100% conscious. I was a katan when I wrote it. No, a shtar is a shtar is a shtar. So who has to bring a raya over here? So let's just focus on Rabbanan. Forget Remeir for a second. Rabbanan say the receiver has to bring a raya. Why? Because he's the moitzi. Now, what kind of raya does he have to bring? So according to Rav Chizda, it's like no one fix. Shtar. He has a shtar. He's holding a shtar in his hand that says that he received an apartment. Bring a raya that the shtar was done well, there's 2 eidim. That's it. That's all you need. You don't need to prove whether you're sick or not sick. If it's a kosher shtar, 2 eidim wrote a shtar. We also will see throughout the sugya, really, I might not mention it because I'll forget, but remember now, when somebody signs on a shtar, he did a little bit of homework. He knows, not sick, yes sick, gadol, katan, shoita, not shoita. He's signing on a good shtar. There's no reason for him to what? Oh, that's what we're going to get into. Exactly. That's basically what you're saying, maybe, and that's part of the sugya. Do we say that once this guy that claims that he was sick, he's not saying that the shtar is not a good shtar. He's saying it's a perfect shtar. I was there. I wrote it. I have a reason why it's not good. That's already hapesha asar, hapesha iter. He's mekayim the shtar himself. He's saying that the shtar is a good shtar. Just you should know that there's a little bit of a flaw to the shtar because he was a shchimera. Okay, so now let's see the Gemara inside. Again, if this is a little bit too complicated, don't worry about it. In about 10 lines, it's over. We start all over another sugya. So Gemara says, Raya b'mai. When the receiver of this apartment needs to bring proof, what kind of proof does he have to bring? Ravuna Omar, like you see on the screen, Raya b'edim, has to bring edim that the guy was actually healthy when he received the property. So it's a matnas bari, a gift of a healthy person. Doesn't matter if he's sick now. It doesn't matter. He gave it when he was healthy. It's a great gift. Rav Chizda, Rabunamri, Raya b'kiyum ashtar. You need to be mekayim the shtar. I just threw in the other side, not to confuse anybody, that according to Remeir, there's no machloikis. The raya is edim. Remeir says that the giver has to bring a raya. He's not going to be mekayim a shtar. He's the opposite. He's not holding on to the shtar. The other guy, the receiver, is holding on to the shtar. So there's no question that Remeir says that the raya means you have to bring edim. Okay. Ravuna Omar raya be'edim. This is super interesting. So let's go to the next chart, please. Yeah, 15. Now give it here. Let me see if I can click. Oh, click works over here. No, go on it. Oh, yeah, okay. So, according to Remeir, who's believed? The Makabel is believed. The giver is not believed. That's Remeir. So if you remember yesterday, we had a machloikus. What kind of chazak are we using here? There's 2 chazakas that you could go. Do we look at the person today? What's his current situation? Currently, he's a healthy human being. So that's chazak hashta. Right now, you take him. Right now, what is he? He's healthy. Let's take him right now and go backwards. Back. He's healthy. You want to say you were sick once upon a time? You prove it. Let's use the chazaka right now. Today, we know you are healthy. You're in a shchimera? Oh, you say you're sick? Prove it. So Remeir says that the giver has to bring a raya. He holds like... Let's see what happened. No, go back on there. On 15 and stay there. Yeah, good. Okay, so it's going a little different. Let's jump to... I don't have good control here. So Rabbanan, we're having a little bit of technical. We're using this new screen now, and it's a little bit off. So according to Rabbanan, who's believed? The giver is believed. The receiver is not believed, right? So says the Gemara, according to Remeir, it's a little confusing. Giver, receiver, but we're gonna survive here. Who has to bring a raya according to Remeir? The guy is healthy like an ox today. He claims that last month he was sick. So there's a chazaka that he's healthy. Let's go take the chazaka work backwards. And the giver has to bring a raya. That's why it fits right into Reb Nosson of yesterday that there's a chazaka dahashta. We go with what we have now today. What's the evidence today? The evidence is that he's a healthy man, and if you want to say anything other than that, the chazaka, then you have to prove it. Ashi, there's a seat over here for you.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Oh, I actually had a very nice picture of you, Ashi, but you weren't here, so I'm going to show it tomorrow when you're here.
Okay.
Bezrat Hashem. Yeah, very nice picture.
Okay, sounds good to me.
Good. But that's it. We got to, you're sitting close.
I'm close, so I'll try to be more quiet.
Oh, okay. Gival.
I know the drill.
Starting now. Says Rabbanan. Rabbanan say that who has to bring a raya? The receiver. So they go according to Rabbi Yaakov. Rabbi Yaakov's chazak is different. Rabbi Yaakov says we have a cheskas. He's a muhzak. Who's a muhzak? Who owns the prior? Who's the baldira? Who's in this apartment for the last 22 years? The giver. So who has to bring a raya here? The receiver. So it fits very nicely. Rabbi Nosson and Rabbi Yaakov. Great. That's one way to look at the machlokes. Ravuna Amar Raya be'edim komipalgi be'plukta the Rabbi Yaakov Rabbi Nosson. Simen maniach. Reb Meir, Rabbi Nosson, like you see over here. Reb Meir who says that the giver has to bring a raya because there's a chazaka of what we have right now. Right now he's healthy, so prove that you aren't healthy. Rabbanan Rabbi Yaakov. Yeah, I don't know how they do it in other shiurim. They just Reb Meir is like Rabbi Nosson and Rabbi Yaakov. Weiter, everything makes sense. Rav Chizda Reb Meir Rabbi Nosson and Rabbanan Rabbi Yaakov. Rav Chizda Rav Huna Amri. Raya b'kiyum ashtar. Mamish, like you were saying now. That what? What's the machlokes? Everybody will agree, like Reb Nosson, that we look at it right now. What's his matzav? He's strong like an ox. He was strong like an ox yesterday and the day before, and everything is great. We go like chazaka dahashta. We have a completely different shaila over here, and this is a gewaldige question. These are great sugis, by the way, really good shas sugis. What's the machlokes? You have a guy here who's strong like an ox, says it's a beautiful star, just the problem is that when I wrote it, I was a shchimera. So, wait a minute, you just admitted that it's a good star. You yourself, you're the owner of the apartment, you said that the guy's holding on to a great star. So pause, that's it, end the story, you admit it. Now you want to add the story to your story? Too late. In fact, we're going to have a whole sugya on Amud Beis where Rabbi Yochanan says, mamish this, like Reb Meir. If you admit that the star is good, there's no need to go any further. That's basically what Noam Fix was saying yesterday. That's a good star. Now, and you admit that it's a good star. And you want to fa'emfer and say, no, it's not a good star because it was a good star, but it's a shchimera, so it's on a condition that he's going to die from it, but he didn't die. Too late. You already admitted that's a good star. Rabbanan Savri. So here's a new machlok. It's not whether we hold like Reb Nosson or Reb Yaakov, what kind of chazaka we're using, a chazaka of right now or a chazaka of yesterday, a muhzuk. No, just a question of how a star works. Well, not even. We'll see in a second. Then what? It's a famous concept in Shas. Could I see the charts for a second? Thank you. Chart 13. So we have this concept called a pesha asar or pesha hitter. If a woman comes to us and says, listen, I just showed up from South Africa, I was married. Pause. What does that mean? She is a Eishes, but I got divorced. What does that mean? She's not Eishes. So is she Eishes or not Eishes? The same person who told us that she's Eishes also explained to us that she's not Eishes. Huh? Ha-pesha asar, wa-pesha hitter. So over here also, this mouth that said this is a good star is also explaining away that it's not a good star because it was a shchimera. Do we say that or not? So over here, Rabbanon, Sabri, Moed B'shtash Kosek, Tzarch L'kai Moed, Ha-pesha asar wa pesha hitter. We have to trust him that it's a good star. Let's also trust him that he was a shchimera. And therefore, you have to go and bring rayas that it's a good star if you want to collect this apartment. There's a Maisa Chaya. A woman was renting her apartment out to a guy, and this guy was not a very nice guy. He wasn't paying rent for many, many months. She had a lot of tzaras from him, a lot of fights, a lot of tzaras. And she was an almana. She didn't have any children. She had a little money also. a little bit more than a little money. And she went to confide with the Gabayim in the shul. Told her, this guy's a troublemaker, maybe you could speak to him, he downs in your shul. And she mentioned to them, she said, Lachar Me'ev Esrim, I want to give everything I have to the shul. I benefit from the shul, I love the shul, I want to give everything to the shul. So they had different eitzes, what to do with this guy, they try to schmooze him. Then one day she dies, and the guy, the renter, he shows up with a document saying that 98% of her 20 million shekel Yerusha goes to him, and like 10,000 shekel goes to the shul. So the shul wasn't so, they didn't trust him. So they went, they said, who's the lawyer? They interviewed the lawyer. It seemed like a good guy, like a trustworthy guy. They said, you were there, you saw it? Yeah. And what about the witnesses that signed? So they interviewed the witnesses. It ended up in court, and they're interviewing the witnesses, and the witnesses, listen, Mazel Chaya, we were there, and they were talking straight. They said, we sat down in a restaurant. The woman, she pulled out a cigarette, she smoked, she had a drink, and she said, listen, I want to give everything to Reuben, and a little bit to the shul. Cross-examination, back, forth, they couldn't poke a hole in the story. Until one of the guys from the shul said, listen, so he's a frum lady, I never saw her smoke. I don't think she ever smoked in her life. What do you mean, cigarette? So they started drilling this thing, and they realized that the witnesses were 100% true. The lawyer was a great guy. This guy, he brought another woman. It wasn't even the woman that gave it. They just put another woman in there, pretending that she's signing off her property. So they had the lawyer sign off on it, and the witness. Okay. So sometimes you have to be mekayim shtar. This question of hitter or this is an old machlokes. Why do you have to argue it again? When you have Eidim that come forward and they say this is a good shtar, but we were 12 years old when we wrote the shtar. So again, this is a pesha asa pesha hitter. We're admitting it's a good shtar, but this happened. The Sanya ain't a monim apostle. The Meir says, what? That's it. That moedim shtar shekasvay ain't tzarich l'kaymai. That's it. It's good. It's a good shtar. They're believed that pesha asa pesha hitter tzarich l'kaymai. You have to come and figure out a way to prove that it's a good shtar. These Eidim that say it's a good shtar, they're also saying it's not a good shtar. So why do I need two machlokes in? Very simple. Tzricha. Itmar b'ahi. If you're going to just say this case that we just mentioned, that the Eidim are saying that it's not good, b'ahi kamer Rabbanon. The reason why Rabbanon say that they are believed, mishum da'alimi Eidim u'mari shtar. Listen, two Eidim in all of the Torah could do whatever they want. Eidim are believed to say a shtar is not a good shtar. That makes a lot of sense. So if they said it's not a good shtar, you're going to have to prove that it is a good shtar. Hatzlacha. But in our case, who's saying that the shtar is not good? Who? This guy himself that wrote the shtar. The Shchivmera guy, the guy that says that he was sick. Why would I trust him? He's the guy in the shtar. He's the guy giving away the apartment. Of course he's going to say he never gave away the apartment. He's not two outside witnesses. That's the first case. Two outside witnesses, you're right. It makes sense that Chacham said you have to be Mekayim after they say that they were Ktanim or whatever. But over here, when the guy himself in the shtar, the giver, is saying that something is wrong, we can't believe him. Maybe we don't have to be Mekayim. And then the Gemara just reverses this exact svara to Rebbe. If we say our case, that who's the one being married on the shtar? The giver himself? No. Meir over there, it's so weak. He himself. So Rebbe says you don't have to do a kiyum. But maybe Rebbe admits that when two Eidim come forward and say it's not a good shtar, maybe you admit that you do have to do a kiyum kamashmal, and once you admit that the shtar is a good shtar, according to Rebbe, you don't have to do a kiyum tzricha. Again, the top word of our Amud here, when the receiver doesn't trust the giver says I was a shchimra, he doesn't trust him, the receiver has to bring a raya. With what kind of raya? Eidim. So Abaya, Abaya was brought up by Rabbah. That's his stepfather, his Rebbe. My time. What's his far? Every shtar in the world, when you write a gift to your friend, you're supposed to write in the shtar, there's a lashon that you write, saying, I was strong like an ox. I was walking around in the marketplace. I'm healthy, not in the hospital. Ubahalik Sibba. From the fact that it's not mentioned that he was walking around on his 2 feet, it's mashma that he is a shchimera. Shma mino shchimeravi. Says Abaya, but other Rabba. Midekulu ksibu every star of a shchimera. What's the lashon in the star of a shchimera? Kad kotze v'romei b'arse. When I was sick in the hospital bed on oxygen, I wrote this thing. Oh, v'holek sivba. So how come it doesn't say that lashon in the star? It's a raya that he is a bori shma mino bori avi. So therefore, since the star has no proof, it doesn't say this lashon, doesn't say that lashon. So I have nothing to do. All I could do is say that this money is where it was before. B'cheskas marei shalom ha'yisrael. It belongs to the giver. The giver lived in this apartment for 22 years. It's his apartment. Says the Gemara Vayter. We're continuing with this theme, but now comes a Geshmaka Maisa from Bnei Brak. Look at the Rebbitzen Omar. Raya Beidim. This same machlokes that we just had to Rav Huna of Chizda, is it Eidim Shtar? Yeah, you could go back to 14. Yeah, you could click on that for a second. This machlokes in Rabbanon, that the receiver of the apartment has to prove. What kind of proof? Is it Eidim or is it Kiyum Shtar? Now we say machlokes we have between Rabbi Yochanan and Rish Lakish. Rabbi Yochanan Amar Be'eidim. Rabbi Yochanan says like Rav Huna. Rabbi Shimon ben Lakish Amar Raya B'Kiyum Shtar like Rav Chizda. Now, Eis Rabbi Yochanan ben Lakish, Maisa b'Bnei Brak. This must be the shortest Rishvav in all of Shas. He says, B'Bnei Brak, Makom. In case you don't know, B'Nei Brak is a place. It's known that the Chazon Ish said, Chazon Ish lived in B'Nei Brak, he developed B'Nei Brak, and Rabbi Rosedale, you don't know, but my grandfather, he inherited a Yerusha from his father, who's Swiss, sent him some money, and he went to ask the Chazon Ish what to do, and the Chazon Ish said, buy this lot here in Bnei Brak. Bnei Brak is up and coming. It's a long match, we're not going to get into it, but it's Chavrusa, they used to learn at 4 o'clock in the morning. My grandfather's a cipher. Chavrusa convinced him not to buy the property in Bnei Brak, but to buy a machine a hatching machine, that you put eggs in it and it hatches chickens, and he made that investment and it blew up. He actually got hit by a missile from Syria, from Jordan missile. They lived in Yerushalayim, a missile came and blew it up and they had zero. Because he didn't listen to the Chazon Ish. But anyways, the Chazon Ish lived in Bnei Brak. Nothing to do with this mice that I'm about to say now. We could have been millionaires. Is it the property, whoever bought it, whoever owns it now, they built 400,000 apartments on it. And it's worth $17 billion. We would have been, if we would have invested the money back then, we would have been wealthier than Elon Musk. Anyway, but we ended up with a couple of chickens, and even that. When my grandmother was nifter, she left a 1-bedroom apartment on Refuah Rebbe Akiva, 111 Refuah Rebbe Akiva. It's still in the family, this, and whatever. It's a 1-bedroom apartment. That's what they had. Anyway, 1 bedroom. In other words, the parents slept in that 1 bedroom, and my father and his 5 siblings slept in the dining room. That's how they lived. So, the Chazon Ish said missiles will never fall in Bnei Brak. No, the Chazon Ish. So there was a shaila whether when the Chazon Ish was nifter, usually a bracha of a gadol lasts when they're alive. It's a mavur in the Gemara that it doesn't really go afterwards. So the Reb Chaim Kanievsky always said no, it's forever. There's a big shaila because last week just a few days ago, a missile fell in Bnei Brak, in the border. So they went, they checked, they said no, it's Ramadan. But there's another shaila because it's possible that Bnei Brak leased that land to Ramat Gan. It's a big shiloh, but anyway, I just thought this is very cute. They say that when the dollar is 475 shekel, so the yeshivas were panicking because their money came in shekel, and they didn't know what to do, and it started dropping. So they went to Chaim Kanievsky. They said, "What should we do?" Chaim Kanievsky says, "Well, the dollar's dropping." He says, "In Bnei Brak, it's not going to drop."
That could be a reason why the Eruv didn't get broken. The missile came in, the Eruv stayed, right?
Yeah.
That was a miracle. Buildings are falling. The Eruv stayed. That story last week was a missile in Bnei Brak.
Yeah. But the Eruv stayed.
The Eruv wasn't.
To show that this is Bnei Brak. Right. It's a story. It's a mice in your new book. Is it true?
It's true.
Says the Gemara. Okay, weiter.
Mazel B'nei Brak.
Oh, this is a gewaltige Mazel. Mazel b'Bnei Brak be'echad shemochar b'nichsei aviv v'meis. Listen to this story. There's a story in Bnei Brak. Somebody sold his father's belongings, and then he died. Uba'u b'nei mishpacha v'iru loymar koton haya b'shas misa. So show this 16 for a second. Yeah. Go. It's a video. This guy's a 35-year-old. Over here you can see a little bit that he's older. Okay, we saw enough. So this is Betzim, what happened here, according to Rashbam. There's not a question whether this kid was 13 or 12. He was 100% 20 years old. He was a 20-year-old person who sold the property, says the Rashbam. Just his family's claiming he never had simanim. And even though he's a 20-year-old, halachically he's a katan. There's no doubt. We were all by his bar mitzvah 7 years ago. He's a gadol. They bought it from him because they figured, listen, 7 years ago was his bar mitzvah. Little did they know, the family said, no, we know for a fact he's a katan. He doesn't have simanim. And therefore, he had no right to sell the family's property. They asked Rebbe Akiva, can we exhume the body? Can we take the body out and check? Simonim, not simonim. Number one, there's the isser of bezayin mace. You can't take him out for such a reason. Void. And another reason, before you turn the page, simonim asuyim nishtanis lachar misa. What are you going to gain by taking him out? It says, Taisus, there's pores that need to come together with the shtei saros. And if you don't have the pores, it's not a good raya. And therefore, after death, you don't know pores, not pores, besides maybe the hairs fall out. You're not going to gain anything. Just want to show you a real quick video, 17. Play.
Hey, great to do business with you.
No, we don't hear.
According to the story in the Gemara, you have to die now.
Yes. But because it's a cartoon, I can just open the door and... Oops.
Well, that's how the story goes.
The kitzur, what happened is the cartoon died, and there's a question whether he was a gadol or a katan. Even the Pachkevillain had a suffix. What to do? That was the... Now you understand the Pachkev. I see a little confusion here. Yeah, it says over there, Yaldeinu, a kid, and it says a bacher. Now the question was, the guy that did it didn't want to do it. He said, it's too dark. Dark humor. I said, no, but he's a cartoon. He doesn't die right away. He doesn't fall. He hovers and he goes like this, and he says he's a cartoon. Kids guys came over to me after the Hebrew shit. They said, nah, it's too much for us. It's like dark. It's okay. Yeah, Mashiach. The bottom line is like this. He died, and they're claiming that he was a katan. He didn't have the right to sell. Anytime we talk about a katan, so I remind the Olam when it comes to Dalad Minim, when you buy Dalad Minim from a 13, 14-year-old, it's very problematic. It's possible that he's not a real gadol halachically, and he doesn't have the right to sell it to you. The right has to be shalochem, lochem, and it's not. Same thing with kiddush. Let's say a kid that just had a bar mitzvah and he's making kiddush deraisa for other people, for his mother. Sometimes the father's out of town. It becomes a problem. We don't know for a fact that he's a gadol. Okay, ayin sham. Remaylich Biederman said this ma'isa. He said that there's a wealthy guy who never learned anything, and somebody convinced him to learn Torah with him every day. They learn chavrusa, and unfortunately, this wealthy guy died at a very young age. So the chavrusa went to the funeral, and after the funeral, he realized that he doesn't have his phone on him, and they called it a whole ma'isa. He figured out either they heard it, the way the Ramalach says they heard it ringing from within the caver. He realized that while he was like covering the mace, his cell phone fell out and went into the grave. So he said, listen, you see from here, that a person after he dies doesn't bring a thing with him, not $1, nothing, garnish, just tachrichim. But in this case, because he learned with him on the phone, so that phone was zechus to be in the grave. All right.
What is zechus?
Yeah. Weitergegangen. There's a mice here with the Rebbitzen, but I don't like it so much. The Chassidim told me it's a true story, but I'm not going to say it all. Yeah, I don't know. To hear a phone 4 feet under 4 Yeah. Now, in our days, Rabbi, we don't do bells. We leave cell phones, charge cell phones in there.
We also put cement blocks. How do you hear a guy knocking? How do you see a guy moving?
Depends. What's
cement blocks over the dead person?
A kasha for mice. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, you don't put. You're right.
Nobody's underneath.
No. But if you wake up and you're underneath, you take your hand down and you start going like this.
What are you doing?
You tried it?
You saw how they buried
Yeah. First you take your hands out of the tachrichim. Should I tell you how to do it?
There's cement blocks over
You push a little bit. Push the blocks. Listen, you didn't do a lot of push-ups in your life. A strong guy could just lift the blocks with the... Okay, yeah. Kasha for Mises. Yes, and Kasha for Mises.
Okay.
Yeah. Sponsors.
Good point, Ahmed.
Thank you.
Oh my gosh, there's 6 minutes left for this. Okay. Turn to the daf. I'm skipping stuff. Rikavici family, zechus klal Yisrael, and Glenn Esterson, dedicated to Gilad Jacob Israel. Thank you for bringing the daf into my life, Baruch Hashem. I really hope we get to the bottom because Yoshi did an unbelievable thing here with the Epoch Sugya. Givaldig Mamish makes everything so easy. Says the Gemara like this. Bishleim Ledidi, Rebbitzen says, according to me, the Amina Raya Beidim. What raya do you need? Witnesses. What's the story in Bnei Brak? What happened was, the receivers, the guy that bought the property from this youngster, who looks like a youngster, he's 20 years old, but I don't know if he has Simon or not, bring Eidim. And Eidim are going to say that everything is good. And they couldn't find V'layashkechu. How did the cause of Arlei? Malabatkoi. They come to Rebbe Akiva, can we pull the body out of the grave to prove our point? But Yerush Lakish says that we're talking about that the guy has a star, and all you need is to verify the star. Why do you have to exhume the body? Says the Rashbam over here, like 4 lines from the top. There's mistama. I like that lashon. Mistama. It's not like a yeshivish lashon. Mistama. When Eidim sign on a star, they verify the star, and all you need is find those 2 guys that signed, and everything's great. Why do you have to exhume the body? Says the Gemara, what you thought? What? Right, the same thing as before. If there's no Eidim, there's no. I hear. You didn't understand the story. It's not pshat that the apartment is still in the kid's family's possession, and the buyers are coming to Bezin. No, the buyer, he's the one using the apartment. So a kiyum shtar is not beneficial for him. It's the bnei mishpacha who come and say that he was a kid and therefore you need the eidim. So here comes a big chiddush in halacha. You see from here that since Rebbe Akiva told them, who's them? We can prove from here who he's speaking to. He said, you're not allowed to do bezayin ames. You're not allowed to pull him out of the grave. Vishtiku, and they were quiet. If he was talking to the family, it's the family that was saying that he was a katan mishumach yishtiku. Because he told them, you're not allowed to take the body out, and okay, that's it. It's in the story, but if it's the buyers, amai shatki, why didn't they continue arguing with Rebbe Akiva? Oh, so here comes the thing. They're saying, we paid $1 million for this apartment. L'navel. I don't care about Bezayin Mace. We lost $1 million. We're about to lose $1 million. It's your problem. Says the Ksasayfer, what? Who says you're allowed to do nivel for a little money? It says in brachas that you don't do Hashavas Aveda when it's a problem of Bezayin Mace. So he says that the family are the ones, or the guy, the kid that sold it, he's the one that caused it on himself. He shouldn't have taken money. He sold it when he shouldn't have sold it. It's his problem. From here, people want to bring a raya. It's not so pasha. Of course, you can't pass it from a Daf Yomi shir, but they want to bring a raya from here. that if you somebody swallowed a diamond, and he died, it's not a bezayna mace to take it out because does it have some mum in here? L'navel. Sometimes you have to do it. What about a naguna? Question. A woman who doesn't know if she can get married. She says, listen, you see this grave over here? That's my husband. I found that's my husband. She says, no, it's not your husband. I'm telling you it's my husband. Take him out and we'll see that's my husband. Then I can get married. Are you allowed to pull a guy out of the grave to get married? These are the shaylas. Maril Diskin said you could. So in certain situations, yes. In certain situations, now we have to know when. Zog the Gemara. Imshum Halayiria. Says the Gemara, don't bring a big raya from how Rebbe Kiva said it. This is what Rebbe Kiva meant to them to say. First of all, we have a problem with Bezoin HaMeis in general. Va'oid. And if you're going to tell me it's not a problem with Bezoin HaMeis, why? He's a menuvel to begin with. Why did he steal from us $1 million? Let his body be menuvel. Let there be Bezoin HaMeis. Let me get my $1 million back. For that he said, it's not going to help you to take out his body. Okay, so you can't prove from Rebbe Kiva's lashon. Toshma. Another story, interesting story. I just like the story, even though it doesn't have so much to do with here, but people could be wary and be careful because it happened in our neighborhood. A guy rented an apartment for 3 years. And the owner was a guy that lived in America, had no business being here in Ramat Bet Shemesh. It happened here in Ramat Bet Shemesh. And he comes back after 3 years. He's trying to contact the guy that rented from him. He doesn't hear from him. He got everything up front. He comes to his apartment, knocks on the door. Some kid opens up the door. He peeks inside. He sees another 10 kids. He says, is your mother home? Yeah. This is not the person he rented the apartment to. And she says, could I help you? She says, could I help you? Turns out that the renter sold the apartment to this family. He was not the owner. He was just a renter. Sold them a fake. It's not. So something similar. This mamish happened in our neighborhood. Donnie, you familiar with these kind of stories?
I have nothing to do with it.
I know. That wasn't my question. Now you're looking bad. Have you ever heard of a story like this in Ramat Bet Shemesh? Kimat. Toshma Shal Reb Shimon ben Lakish is Rabbi Yochanan. Rish Lakish asks Rabbi Yochanan, somebody's using the apartment, he's using the field. Somebody else says, knock, knock, it's my field, what are you doing here? So we're going to learn new musagim here. The concept, what's oinai? If you never did the daf before, what's oinai? What's amana? Very good. What's pasim? So here we have all three of them. He says, oinai. He took out a star. Here, you, what do you mean it's yours? You sold it to me. He looks right at him straight in the face. What, you forgot? You sold me the thing? You gave it to me as a gift. And if the guy denies it completely, like the guy that took the Yerusha from the woman, so you have to bring the Eidim and find out from the Eidim what happened. So this is also a big boo-boo that people do. I want to warn the Eilam. Again, we're here to help you. Just a public service announcement. Do not sign off your apartment to your best friend to make him feel good and so you can get a mortgage. He'll take it and he'll show the bank, look, I own property. Look, I could be a partner in business because look, it says Mefurish, I own this and this apartment. My friend, he doesn't say that, but his friend signs it off to him. But what happens is he becomes greedy. He turns around to his best friend. Listen, for $2 million, I'm about to earn this friendship. He turns around to his friend and says, you know what? It's my apartment. You signed it over. It happened more than once. Yeah? It's a loshon of pius. I'm showing you I signed off my apartment so that you could look like you have the means today. You just show up in a fancy car, so people think, oh, this guy is wealthy. But in the time of the Gemara, you wanted to get a loan or something, you have to show that you own real estate. You could do it today as well. There's shtar amana, or there's a shtar of trust. In other words, you do want to buy the apartment from me. I let you live there, which is a tremendous mistake, and I'll pay you over time. I don't have the money today. I trust you. Amana is trust. And then he says, no, I'm not paying you anything. I already paid. If there's Eidim, they mask him. Hey, look, the guy's not a shaita. He's giving it to his best friend, but he does it in front of two other Eidim. He says, I'm giving over this apartment. Here, there's a lie. The star is a lie. So if it ever happens, I know somebody told me yesterday that he did that. He sold something to somebody else so he could have it and he could show the bank, But shticky kind of thing. And okay, if it goes bad, it goes bad. And if you don't have Eidim, then whatever the star says you sold it, it's too bad. Says the Gemara, Rabbi Dambi, you got to see that the last slide. See it online, it's Givaldic. It's a new one. According to Meir, since he admits that it's a star, but you're saying, but it's a pasim, it's a amana, too bad. Once you admit. It goes mamash like Meir. Omar lei loy. Shani oimer divrei hakol. So this we have to remember these two words. What does Rabbi Yochanan say? Divrei hakol. Everybody, moida b'shtar shiksovay eretz l'kaimai. Everybody agrees to Meir. Whoa, there's no machlokes in it. Everybody says divrei hakol. That's the Gemara. So the Gemara at the end is going to say what I meant by everybody means 99% of the people, meaning Rabbanan, and there's one Rebbe Meir who argues, but everybody, general population, they agree. Okay. As the Gemara of Miflik Pligi, but Rebbe Meir and Chachamim do argue in this. The Snan, Ein Nemanim Lepaisle, the Rebbe Meir, we had this on Amud Aleph. The Chachamim Nemanim. Mamash Machlokes, if you're made in a star, do you have to be Mekayim or not? Omar Lei, and this is what we also had on Amud Aleph. I Eidim Alimi Umari Shtara. If there are Eidim, great. The Eidim are very powerful. They could ruin a star. They could ruin anything. They could put somebody to death, Eidim. Iu kol kamine. But the seller, in Bar Kapara's case, he sold the star. He sold the property. And then he turns around and he says, no, it's not a good star. You know why? Because it was a fake. It was shtick. It was this. Too bad. It's your star. Who are you to poke a hole in a star? You're in the star. Be quiet. In the story of Bnei Brak, they said about you, Rabbi Yochanan, the story of Bnei Brak, the family that you're saying, who are you to say anything? They're the ones, and they're right for saying that the guy was a kid. He wasn't a gadol. In other words, tzarich l'kaimai. The family has a right to make you bring Eidim to be mekayim the thing. So you're not going to believe this. Here comes this beautiful thing. Omar lei zua lozor amara. So Rabbi Nachman the Fenster, who knows Kol HaTorah Kula Bal Peh, also Belzer Chassid, he told me, because there's a Gemara in Ksubas Daf Tzadik Vav, that says that any time in Shas, any time Rabbi Yochanan, Rabbi Lazar ever repeated something in learning, the Talmidim always knew he's talking about Rabbi Yochanan. He's a Talmud of Rabbi Yochanan. Any time Rabbi Lazar said something, automatically the Gemara in Ksubas says, it's Rabbi Yochanan. Says Rabbi Yochanan, that's every time, but here I'm going to tell you, no. This is not me. That's him. I never said it Ma'ilam. In other words, so if you look here on the chart, maybe I can't make it larger. Can you blow it up? This is not touch. No. Go back. Forget it. Don't go back. Stay. Okay. Forget it. Rabbi Yochanan says, Ein tzarich l'kaimai. Once you admit, that's it. The star is a good star. I don't care. You don't need Eidim. You admitted it's a good star. And everybody agrees to this. Everything is good. So now, let me show you what's going to go. Let me see if we're there yet. No, so let's just do two more lines and I'll show you the rest of this chart. Givaldic chart. Very proud of it. Okay, great. Rabbi Yochanan denies that he ever said this. Who said tzarich l'kaimai? That's Rabbi Lazar's Talmud. But the problem is, Yichbar b'Rebbiani Rabbi. How could he argue that he ever spoke about this with his Rebbe, Rabbi Yanai, the Omar Rabbi Yanai, Omar Rebbe. Rabbi Yanai said in the name of Rabbeinu, Rabbi Yehuda Nasi, Rebbe, Moed b'shtar shekasvai, ein tzarich l'kaimai. That's what, like we just said now. But the Omar le Rabbi Yochanan, and Rabbi Yochanan argues on it. Rebbe, let me just say what about our Mishnah? A raya became a star that you have to be mekayim it. What do you mean? Ein tzarich l'kaimai. Tzarich l'kaimai. Okay, end the story over here. Now, Baram Nirin Divrei Rabbeinu Yosef. So now it's another pshat, and this is unbelievable. She's going to say like this. Let me show you real quickly on the chart. Rabbi Yochanan is saying Take a look over here. Rabbi say, look at this chart. You got to see this. So the Gemara proves it from Rabbi Yosef. Rabbeinu Yosef is Rabbi Yosef. It's beautiful. Green lines up with green. Rabbi Yosef also in Chachamim ein tzarich l'kaimai. So the Gemara asks a kasha, but our Mishnah says Chachamim say tzarich l'kaimai. That's what we did the whole sugya. Chachamim say tzarich l'kaimai. What do you do when you have a problem like this? It doesn't line up. Eipoch. So now all the greens line up. So the Gemara has a kasha, but the Brisa says the tzarich l'kaimai. What do you do? But the Gemara asks, but Rabbi Yochanan is the one who says shtar matana. You mekayim with a bekim shtar, and Chacham say be'edim. What do you do? Huh? Boy, so here goes. I wish you had the sound. You don't have the sound. Anyway, so it all lines up. And so boom, you're valid. And now that we know that, we could go real quickly. Because otherwise, I don't know. Eipoch, like, what are you talking about, Eipoch? What does Eipoch mean? Now we know what Eipoch is. Zog the Gemara. Beram nirim divri Rabbeinu Yosef, the Amar Rabbeinu Yosef, Amar Rabbi Yehuda, Amar Shmuel, Zu divri Chachamim, that the giver, the guy giving the field, he has to bring a raya. This mamish the opposite, and everything lines up. Rebbe says the Chachamim are the one that say ein tzarich l'kaimoi. So why did Rabbi Yochanan before say everybody admits ein tzarich l'kaimoi? Here you have a man called Remeir who argues. No, the Rabbanan, the guy Remeir, the Reakoli. We don't even consider him when he argues against so many people. It says Gemara, it says the Chacham say tzarich l'kaimoi eipoch. You got to flip the shita. V'tanya in the monim lepaislo the Remeir v'chamayim in the monim that tzarich l'kaimoi eipoch. Rabbi Yochanan raya be'edim kamar eipoch. Rabbi I have a wonderful